Okay. So let me show you that as well. So how are we going to find out the equilibrium price? It's basically demand is equals to supply. So if I'm trying to find out for the home economy, I'm going to equate the demand curve for the home economy, which is 100 minus Q, is equals to the supply curve of the home economy, which is minus 20 plus Q. If I equate it, we'll get 120 equals to 2Q. So Q star home will become 60. Okay. And if I just put it back in any of the equations, so P star H will be 100 minus 60, and that turns out to be 40. So this is my home price, or as we call it, this is the autarky home price, AUTARKY, autarky home price. Now, similarly, we will do this for the foreign one. So for the foreign price, we will have demand equals to supply. So the demand curve over here is 300 minus Q, and the supply curve is minus 10 plus Q. So this gives us 300 plus 10, which is 310, is equals to 2Q. So what is my Q star over here? It is 310 divided by 2. So that is 155. So if we put it anywhere, let's say in the demand curve itself, so your P star F will become 300 minus 155. So that gives us 145. This is your autarky foreign price. Are you all getting these two answers? If any of you can confirm this once. Okay. Is it okay? I think I can see Rajiv and Cheta in the call.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now what we are seeing that the autarky price of the home economy is lesser than that of the foreign economy. So who is going to import and who is going to export in this case? Any idea on that? Let's recap that first. Let us suppose we are talking of the home economy. Don't this is not a part of the sum. We are just having a recap of what we have done earlier. If their price is higher than my price, what will I do? It is beneficial for my country to sell in their country. So that means I will export. Correct. And if you're looking at the same situation for the foreign country, what is it seeing? That the home price is lesser than their price. So it is beneficial for them to import the good from a lower price. Correct? Understandable? So over here, what we are seeing? We are seeing that the autarky price of home is 40 and the foreign price is 145. That means foreign price is higher. So PF star is greater than PH star. So that means home will be exporting and foreign will be importing. Correct? And what are we going to do now with this knowledge? If I just go up to what we have done the last day, look at this diagram once more. Home was our exporter also in this figure, and foreign was our importer. Why was it so? Because the autarky price of foreign was higher than that of home, which was PH star, this one. So what was happening? Home was becoming an exporter in the world economy and foreign was becoming an importer in the world economy. So since home is becoming the exporter, we get the export supply curve from the home country. And since foreign is becoming the importer, we get the import demand curve from the foreign country. And how did we define the export supply curve? It is the excess of supply over demand. And what is the import demand curve? It is the excess of demand over supply. Okay. So this excess supply will be export supply will be obtained for the home economy, and the import demand will be obtained from the foreign economy. Is this clear? Can you all follow this part? What I am saying? Rajiv, is this your first class? I don't recall seeing you earlier. Rajiv, can you please unmute and let me know? Hello, are you there, Rajiv? Okay, so I believe some error. Pracheta, you can follow this one. This is what we had done the last day.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us get back to the question that we are looking at. So from the home, we are going to get the excess export supply curve, which is the supply minus the demand. Can you quickly tell me, Pracheta, what is the supply curve for the home? What is given?
Um, it was P equals to minus 20 plus Q.
So this will be minus 20 plus Q. And what is the demand curve?
It was P equals to 100 minus Q.
100 minus Q. Correct? This was what it is. And this one, just one more thing that we can do directly, since we have to find out the equilibrium price. What would be the export supply? It is the amount of good that is supplied minus the demand for the good. So if you just look at this expression, from here we can write the demand curve as 100 minus P and the supply curve as Q equals to 20 plus P, right? So the excess supply curve will now directly become 20 plus P minus 100 minus P, correct? This way we can directly find the price. So this will become your 2P minus 80. Okay, so this is your, if we can just erase this out or this remains, doesn't matter. So this is basically 2P minus 80. Similarly, my import demand curve would be the amount that is demanded, the quantity minus the quantity supplied. So from here, what will be my Q? It will be 300 minus P. So over here we have 300 minus P minus the supply curve would be Q equals to 10 plus P. So minus 10 plus P. So this is 300 minus 10, so that makes it a 290 minus P, so that makes it a minus 2P. So my import excess supply is this. Import demand is given by foreign, which is demand minus supply, which is 290 minus 2P. So for world equilibrium, what should happen? These two should be equated. Export supply should be equals to the import demand. So 2P minus 80 should be equals to 1 290 minus 2p. So that means we are getting 4p is equals to your 370. So my p will be 370 by 4. So this will be 92.5. Okay,
Yes, sir.
got it? All right. So this is my international price. Now, if we are trying to find out, let's say, that how much is the amount that the home has exported and how much is the amount that the foreign is importing. So what will we do? We'll simply substitute the price value in this export supply curve. So export by home, if we want to find out how much is the amount. So this will be 2 times. So let's say this is P star W. So 2 times P star W minus 80. So that makes it 2 into 370 by 4 minus 80. So this will be how much? Your 185. So 185 minus 80 comes out to be 105. Is this calculation fine, Pracheta? If you can just
Yes,
cross
sir.
check it once. Yeah. And similarly, if we are trying to find out how much is the amount that foreign will import, so we'll use the import demand curve. So the import by foreign will be 290 minus 2 times PW star. So that is 290 minus 2 times, again, sorry, not 340, 370 this time. So this will be 370 by 4. So that will become 185. So 290 minus 185, and we again get back to 105. Okay. Although this is
Yes, sir.
very obvious, but let us look at this as well, that the amount that the foreign is importing is exactly same as the home export. Correct. This has to be the
Yes,
same.
sir.
It cannot be different. So these are the amount. Now, if I want to find out, now let's say, what is the trade gain that is getting? What is the trade gain by home? How do we find this out? To remember, let's analyze the situation for home once. If we can draw a small graph for home, let's say I'm drawing it for the home economy. So this is the quantity that the home will have, and this is the price that will have. So if you look at the values that we have obtained, your autarky price of home is 40, and the price at which it trades is 92.5. So if I just draw a small graph over here, so this is the demand, let's say this is the supply. So this is your 40, right? And the home is trading at a price of 92.5. So when it is trading at 92.5, the home demand is this much and the home supply is this much. So that means this difference is the amount of export. How much did we get this amount? It's 105,
100.
right? 105. Okay. This is my autarky price, which is 40. This is my world price or international price that is coming. Do you remember, Prachita, that we had discussed that this triangle is what represents the trade gain. It's the additional
Yes.
amount of welfare that we are getting when the economy moves from closed trade to open setup. So how do we find out this volume? This is basically a triangle. So that will be half into base into height. What is the base? This is the base that basically denotes the volume of export, the amount. And what is the height? It is the price difference, right? It's basically this P world minus PH. So that means what will be the trade gain? It will be the area of this triangle, which will be half into base, which is the amount of export, into the height, which is PW minus PH. So we'll not compute this, but you will have calculators in your exam to do this. So the amount of export is 105. The world price is 92.5 minus 40. So whatever this amount comes out to be, that is your answer. And since basically the point is that since it's positive, we can say that trade is gainful. Okay, that's the idea. And if you're trying to look at this from the foreign perspective, what will happen? Okay, if we just look at the values of foreign, the autarky price for foreign was 145 and the world price was 92.5. So the world price will become lower in this case. So if we can draw one more diagram to explain the foreign as well. Sorry. Mm, So this I'm drawing for foreign. So this will be the demand. Let's draw a steep one and we'll have a supply. Steep one. So that gives my answer at 145. So this is the demand, this is the supply. The foreign is facing international price of 92.5, which comes below this. So this is the amount that they will want to supply at this amount, the domestic producers, and this is the amount the consumers will demand. So this is the difference that will be imported, volume of import. And how much did we find this to be? 105. So what is the trade gain in this case? It is this triangle, area of this triangle. So again, it will be the base is the amount of import, which is 105 into the height. So this is the difference between this. So this is the foreign equilibrium price, PF star, and this is the world price, which is PW star. So trade gain by foreign would be half into import into this time PF minus PW, the opposite one. So that will be half into 105 into 145 minus 92 point. So this is also positive. That means if there is a trade that is occurring between these two countries, both the countries are getting better off as compared to the closed economic situation. All right. So that's the idea of the trade being gainful for both the parties. It is not only necessary that it is only the people who are exporting will be better off. Okay. Is this fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Rajiv, are you there? Just want to clarify that. Okay. So probably there is some error. All right. So this was our one good framework, or as we call it, the partial equilibrium analysis. Okay. Now let's come to a two good framework. Let's say the two goods are X and Y. So how are we going to define trade? Prachita, before writing out anything, are you familiar with the concept of relative price along in the
Uh,
production possibility frontier?
yes, sir.
Okay. So you understand that what is a relative price, right? That
Yes,
idea
sir.
is clear. Okay. So before actually proceeding with the part, let us just have a brief recap of what we'll actually need. Because when I'm considering two goods, as you have seen in your micro class as well, so these two goods will have a production function, right? So let's say for production, X has a production function of X, which is Lx, comma Kx, and Y has a production function of Ly and Ky. Okay, and Lx plus Ly is less than equals to L bar, and Kx plus Ky is less than equals to K bar. Do we remember, Pracheta, what was L bar and K bar? At least the way I had written them down earlier. What was my L bar and K bar? Do you remember that?
Uh, no, sir.
Okay. So it's basically the endowment amounts. Endowment means the total amount of labor that is available in the economy. Okay, so these are the endowments of labor and capital in the economy. Okay, the total amount of labor that is available. So that total amount of labor can either go to work partly in sector X and partly in sector Y, right? And the very idea why I'm giving less than equals to is because it's not necessary that all of the people will be employed, right? A part of them might be unemployed. So that is why I have given less than equals to. L bar is the total amount of labor that is available in the economy that needs to be distributed, and K bar is the total available amount of capital that needs to be distributed between the two sectors. So with this idea, if I want to say that with these endowments L bar and K bar, what will be the amount of X and Y that can be produced? So that gives us my PPF, the production possibility frontier. So if we can draw that as well. So yeah, we take the good X on the horizontal axis, good Y on the vertical axis, and we get this concave shaped, right? This is my PPF. And what does your PPF tell you? It basically tells you all possible combinations of these two goods that the economy can produce. If we are talking of any point on the PPF, it basically means full employment. And if we are talking of any point inside the PPF, it means full employment is not there for at least one of the factors. Okay, Prachita, these are the factors that we have already seen in micro, right? Correct?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now comes the question, Pracheta, that if I have to tell you that this basically gives us all possibilities, right? This PPF, all possibilities. So now if I tell
Yes,
you
sir.
that what will be the amount of X and Y that is actually getting produced in the economy, that will be answered with the price level in the economy, correct? Otherwise, how will you know?
Yes, sir.
This basically gives you all possibility. The complete picture is presented in front of you that all these combinations of X and Y you can produce. But if we want to see the actual amount, we need to have the price level. And since we have two goods, X and Y, in this figure, we take the relative price level. So how do we define the relative price? which is defined as small p, which is capital Px by capital Py. Okay,
Yes, sir.
yeah. And just tell me one thing if you can understand this. This is nothing but the relative price of good X. Correct?
Yes,
Can
sir.
you? Yeah.
Yes,
So,
sir.
how will this relative price look like?
Mm,
It basically looks like a negatively sloped line, and the point where it is tangent with the PPF indicates the equilibrium, right? Or the production
yes,
level,
sir.
so to say. So, something like saying that this is the amount of X that the economy will end up producing, and this is the amount of Y that the economy will end up producing. So, this is how we get the production levels of the two goods. Now, let us take a particular case. Suppose Px falls. Okay, that is, we have Px dash lesser than Px. So, what will be my new price level? Let's say that is P dash, which is Px dash by Py. Correct?
Yes,
Now,
sir.
tell me, Pracheta, what is happening? Is this P dash more than this small p or greater than this small p?
It will be less than the small p.
Correct. So, if that is the case, what do you think the economy will do? Will it produce more of X or will it produce less of X?
Um, it will produce if the price of X falls, then it will produce less X.
Correct, because we are talking of the production decision. So, if that is the case, how will it look in the graph? P dash is lesser than P. So, what will happen? This line will become flatter, something like this. So, if this line is becoming flatter, so what is happening? Your new equilibrium is E dash, and we are getting lesser amount. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So, lower price in the graph, it is a flatter line. And on the other way, if I write, let's say, if Px increased, that is, let's say, Px double dash greater than Px, then what will be my P double prime? It will be Px double dash by Py. So in this case, it will be more than small p. As a result of which, what will happen? The economy will end up producing more of X. So this price line will become steeper. So this is my P double dash, and this will be my equilibrium E double dash, and you will be producing higher amount of X. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So any change in the price level, relative price level, so to say, basically indicates that you will be changing the composition of the two goods that the economy is producing. That is the basic idea. Now, if you look at this diagram, Pracheta, carefully, one thing is very clear that this can be the same picture that can go for trade as well, international trade. In what way? Let us suppose this is the home PPF. Okay, the home PPF. Okay, Aprachita, making sense?
Yes, sir.
This small p, let us say it is the autarky relative price. Okay. Now, when we are going from to general equilibrium, everything is in terms of the relatives. So if this is the p, and suppose the price of x increases in the world market, then what will happen? This p double dash now becomes your international price line. Perfect,
Yes, sir.
making sense. So in that case, what will happen? You will be producing more of x. So if you are producing more of x, you will obviously be exporting more of x. I hope this logic makes some sense to you. If you are
Yes, sir.
producing more of x at a higher price, that means we'll be exporting more of x. But again, there is one thing that we haven't seen yet. This picture basically talks of the production part of the setup, right? How much the
Yes.
economy will produce when the price changes, if it is facing a different price as comparison to the autarky price. But what is happening to the consumption part? Because remember one thing, that consumers are also there. The export and import that is happening will be taken up by the consumers itself. So if you look at this earlier diagram to get your idea a little bit more clarity, that how are we actually obtaining this export supply curve? It is the excess of supply over demand. So the part of the demand that is generated by the home country, that is catered to, and since you are producing extra, that you can supply. So if you look at this logic once more over here, let's say now your initial price was small p, this one, this line, the green line. So with that you're producing extra. Now, if it so happens that your price becomes P double dash, you are producing some higher amount, right? So if the demand is not X triple star, then only you can export the surplus, right? If at this new
Yes, sir.
price the demand becomes X triple star, then you can't. You will have nothing left to export. So that is what we need to check first. One thing that is clear from at least what we have drawn till now is that we are going to have excess more supply, as a result of which we can export, but this doesn't guarantee that we will export. Okay, now let us draw this diagram once more with some minor changes over here. Okay, so not writing any theory as of yet, and if possible you can draw a diagram a little bigger in comparison to the last one. So this is my y, this is my x, this is my ppf. I'm talking of home country. My autarky price, let's say, is something like this. Let's say I denote it by PD. Okay. So this is my point at which the supply takes place, right? The production level. So let's say this is X1, this is Y1. Okay. X1 and Y1 are what? The production level of the two goods in the home country at the price PD. Now, if we are saying that PD is the autarky price, that means no amount of X and Y is getting traded. Am I correct, Pracheta? If I'm saying that
Yes, sir.
PD is the autarky price, no amount of this is getting traded. So this entire X1 and this entire Y1 is getting consumed in the home economy itself. Okay. Or in other
Yes,
words,
sir.
I can say that X1 and Y1 are the demand by home at small p equals to PD. The entire amount is demanded by the home. That is why there is nothing left to export or there is nothing left to import. All right. And when we are talking of demand, if you go back to micro, how did we find out the point of demand? It was the point where the budget line was tangent to the highest indifference curve. Correct? That is how we found
Yes,
out
sir.
the optimal. So if I am telling that x1 and y1 is the demand, that means that kind of a setup must come here as well. So now instead of a individual's indifference curve, what we'll have the social indifference curve, SIC. Okay, social indifference curve. How do you find out? You'll aggregate all the preferences and then you will get to the social utility function, and from there we'll get the social indifference curve. Okay, is this fine, Rachita?
Yes, sir.
Understandable? You're
Yes, sir.
aggregating it. That means you're, so let us define. So the what is SIC? It is the social, 1 minute. Uh, yeah, sorry, there is some. So it is the social indifference curve. Okay, so this is basically my equilibrium, and point T is not only the autarky production point, but also the autarky consumption point. Okay, making sense?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that means since the economy is producing and consuming at the same point at this price PD, there is no trade. And that is why this is autarky. And how do you understand what is the level of welfare in this autarky situation? It is given by the utility level of this indifference curve. So the autarky welfare is U equals to U1 bar. Okay. And
Yes,
in
sir.
this situation as well, in the two good framework, we come back to the original question that we started with, that is trade gainful? And then we'll see if it is, then what is the amount of gain. Okay. So that will be the content for the next class. So this is the part that we wanted to add on today. How we are going to analyze trade when it comes to more than one commodity. Okay, we are going to use the PPF and we are going to use the social indifference curves. And now we will be talking of the relative price and not the absolute price. That's it for today. Okay, Pracheta, is this fine?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So that's it for the international part today. And people who are waiting, we'll start the microeconomics class in 5 to 10 minutes. We'll take a small break.